Hello, everyone. Good evening. Last presentation before. There's a cocktail after? We get some drinks or? Okay. All right. I'll introduce the rest of the team a bit later. My name is Michel, and I'm the CEO of Jack. And actually, no, I didn't plan any of this. I just met Jack one day. And when you meet Jack, this is what happens to you. So you'll meet him after. So anyway, we live in a world of content. Content is king. We all use, and billions of people use WhatsApp, Snapchat, Twitter, etc. every day. And actually, exchanging information has become a utility. It's like gas, water, electricity. That's great, that's fantastic, but the problem is that there is no emotion in a glass of water, at least not here in Europe. There is no electricity, no emotion when you turn the light on. So it's perfectly okay for utilities, but it's very sad for communication, because communication should be emotional, especially in advertising. It should be an emotional connection between a person saying something and someone receiving the message. Think about it for a minute. Suppose that those great people only had 140 characters to tell us their stories. It would be very sad. We would be left with very, very little legacy. Now, look at those even greater people, as far as I'm concerned, and suppose you only had 10 seconds to watch them. That would be dramatic. And yet, that's what's happening today, in the world today. So at Jack, and Jack in particular, thought about this problem and how could we resolve this dilemma? In other words, continue to use the extraordinarily rich platform that the internet is, and in particular instant communication, and yet create a lasting impact, an emotional experience between the two people who communicate. And we found a solution. The solution is extremely simple. The solution is time. Because if you think about it, everything in life, every emotion you experience in life is related to time. Think about Christmas, when you wait for the moment to open the gift. That's the best moment, isn't it? Think about your first kiss. You remember the waiting was just unbelievable. The kiss was great, but think about the next trip you will book. The waiting for the day you will be at the gate with your wife to go somewhere else. That will be the most fascinating part of the experience. So Jack is an extremely simple concept, but very, very powerful. The idea is to send messages to people in the future. In other words, you send a message, the person will receive the message immediately, so he or she will know he has something from you, but he cannot read it. It's very frustrating at first, but when you try it, you get addicted. The sender decides how long the receiver will need to wait, and this can be 1 hour, 2 hours, a week, a day, 10 years if you like. And this waiting, this sablier, this hourglass, will tell you approximately when the message will be available. And this creates an emotional impact on the receiver. It's very, very powerful. So the app is live. We launched it at the end of last year on iOS, Android, and very recently on the web as well. It has a very simple, very elegant, intuitive design and interface. Now, it's completely free to use, and for the moment, we don't care too much about monetization, but eventually we will monetize. When we launched Jack, our first focus was the consumer. We thought we're going to monetize this with consumers, with gated features and in-app purchases. But to our surprise, a big impact from Jack is with the brands. Because the brands are starting to see how they could use Jack to communicate with the public. Imagine you're a fan of one of those brands. Imagine you receive one of those Jacks and that you wait for days or weeks for it to open. And then eventually it tells you there is a new store opening next to you, or you can buy tickets for the next game, or you can sit down Sunday to watch House of Cards. Very, very powerful. The opportunity for Jack is huge. I'm not going to go into the details now, but we're in an instant messaging world, so where if you are successful, you reach hundreds of millions of people. And I have 2 seconds. We have a fantastic team. Jack is there, you'll meet him later. Jill, Maha, the best Android developer on earth is right here. His name is Yassine. And as Julie said, I was involved in a bunch of startups before, but this is probably the most exciting one. I'd like to thank you very much, and I'll take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Michel.